All right, so I've been fumbling around with the GPT app for a few hours now, and I keep doing the searches and getting the exact same results, meaning that the artificial intelligence knows that we're doomed. So when I started out this morning, I asked it my favorite question, why no one wants to work anymore. Then I asked it, why are there so many open bad jobs in the job market right now? And then I asked it, why are there so many permanent entry level jobs? And then I asked it, what's a high school job? The answers were all exactly the same. The same exact talking points is the answer to all of those questions, which should frighten every one of you. Remember, as I always say, if you're scared, you're not scared enough right now. If you're out there, you're looking for a better job or you're looking for any job. Because the job market is absolute dog, you know what. And to tell people anything else is to blatantly lie to your face. Because as a person that's been looking for a good job my whole life, I've asked myself the title of this particular video almost on a daily basis. Where did all the good jobs go? And the answer is there really wasn't that many good jobs to start out with. And so now, as we see them piling up into the millions, as they can't get people to work at Dairy Queen, at Kroger's, any retail job or restaurant job, they're going the way of the dodo bird. McDonald's is kicking and punching its way out of existence. So is Starbucks, so is Chipotle. I mean, in the future, all restaurants might be overpriced Taco Bell. So, with that said, let's get into my talking points for today. So, the first one that I have here came up, as I said, in every single one of my searches. High turnover and low paying jobs. Workers in these roles often leave for slightly better opportunities, leading to a constant need for employers to fill these positions. As a person that watches this at my own job, I'm seeing them lower the bar every day to find more people to fill sales jobs that require no training. They provide all the training to you, and most people don't make it through the training because you realize, oh my God, this is a crap job. And since you're submitting applications by the hundreds, eventually something that doesn't smell like your dirty socks is going to come up and you're going to take it. It may not be your dream job. It may not be a job that you ever saw yourself doing. It may come with a humiliating uniform. Your coworkers are probably high school dropouts. And at the end of the day, you look at yourself in the mirror and you ask yourself this question: I did everything right, and I'm the bad guy. That's how I felt in all my years of working at Walmart. I looked around at who else was there. I looked at the managers that were all inner city people, and I wasn't sure what I was doing there. But the turnover was there. One of my favorite lines from one of the supervisors was, I'm training a new cashier every day. When is this going to stop? Never. Talking point number two: post pandemic shift, leading to a shortage of workers willing to take on roles considered undesirable. I really don't like it when they refer to people as the resource. The resource will be assigned these types of responsibility in their role at the corporation, which is usually a very temporary role. So you have people who are taking undesirable roles past post pandemic, and it's just because many people are re-evaluating their careers and leaving jobs that don't align with what they see themselves doing. I'm one of those people. And you look at the types of jobs you've been doing your whole life and you think, you know what, I can't do this. I can't do this job for much longer. If I do this job much longer, my mental health is already in the gutter. I've been burnt out for years, but it's gonna get worse. And this past week, when I couldn't even get up to go to work, was my first indicator that it's time to go. When you can't force yourself to go to your gutter job anymore, you know your whole body's rejecting work. And I know most of us, we don't want to go to work. There isn't a single person that works at the bottom that wants to get up and go to work. In fact, I have no idea how my neighbor next door was out till 3 o'clock in the morning because I could hear her in front of my door last night, boozing it up. And then I came back from the gym shortly after 8 and she was gone. Like she went into work with 3 hours of sleep. I don't know how people can do that, but it goes to show how much people dislike their jobs. No normal person's going to go to work on 3 hours of sleep and having drank all night. But I saw it in retail, my entire retail career, is people showing up still drunk on various substances, going home and doing substances, going outside of the store and doing substances, being at work completely wired out of their minds, just so they don't have to think about where they are. And that was normal. Talking point number 3, a mismatch of skills and opportunities. Many of the open positions might be attractive to workers with Many of the open positions might not be attractive to workers with qualifications or experience to seek better opportunities. Now, when a person with a graduate degree applies for an entry level job at Target, they are probably not interested and will be seeking other job positions, right? I saw when I worked at the call center, it was not uncommon to see a person printing their resume on the company printer, even though it was grounds for termination. Any employer that catches a worker looking for work on their company computer is is asking for termination. In fact, some of the girls at my current job right now that work in the office have their resume on their desktop and they're not even disguising it as something else. It's like some sort of work document. It literally says resume right on their desktop, and they've got a tab open on Indeed as they actively look for work while they're doing their current job. And that's because these jobs are not attractive to workers. And the mismatch of skills and the lack of opportunity is out there. And when people think about their lives the way that they are right now, struggling, I mean, most of the people that I work with have a second or third job. This person that I'm talking about now works for Amazon after work and on weekends drives for Uber and Lyft all day with the kids in the car. I couldn't imagine getting into a delivery, into a into an Uber with children in it. I'm not even sure if that's legal, but she has to do it because she has no childcare. Single mom, 5 kids, and the the sperm donor passed away recently of substances of an unknown nature. But these people still have to make a living. Those kids mean that you're going to have to sacrifice, which is something that at least most Gen Z and single men, is however old they are, we don't have to worry about children. Most of us will never have children because no woman will go near us. But there's definitely pain and suffering enough out there for everyone. All right, my next talking point is remote work preference. Traditional jobs that require in person attendance, especially in sectors like retail or hospitality, may now be seen as less desirable. Meaning that the tier of person that is going to take that job is going to have little to no computer skills, they're going to have little to no networking skills, and they're going to be a potato of a human being. I see these people across the street at the Kroger's by my house. People that have been working in that store since they were in high school. People who can't leave. They're not people who during the pandemic had the ability to stop working in jobs that involve them being at their job, doing manual labor. These people wouldn't be able to do a remote job. And in my current job, that is a huge problem. These people who apply for remote work because they would prefer to work remotely because they work in a place in a part of this country that is so backwoods that there isn't traditional work available. And so they take remote jobs. They have no idea what they're doing, but somehow they get hired. And then it comes out that they don't have high speed internet available in their area. And if you guys have ever tried to buy Starlink, it's expensive. And when you're taking a minimum wage job and all there is Starlink in your area, try try to figure that one out. Inflation and cost of living. As inflation rises, the cost of living increases. Many jobs that once seemed acceptable may no longer provide a livable wage, leading people to avoid these positions. That is my entire department in a nutshell. Tech used to be considered a good job. But as more and more people came into this industry looking for that golden ticket to a better life, it became saturated with people that all had the same skills, the same certs, the same abilities to fix computers. So you had more and more jobs that started going towards the wages of entry level help desk. So now a person who's going to come into a tech job is going to start between, I'd say a help desk position's the low password reset person is going to make between $35,000 and $45,000 a year, which unfortunately you can't live off. At least not in Arizona, you can't. But any person who's looking for work in that particular area, at the entry level area of the tech field, will tell you it's not good. These jobs are monotonous, they're annoying, they often have micromanagers that are listening to your every phone call, making certain that you're providing world class customer service, which I I heard that expression nearly every hour when I worked at the call center. And the people that they had there were not world class people. These Some of these people, the job they had before was working at McDonald's or cashier at Circle K, people who just got out of community college with a 2 year IT certification. These were people that weren't going to hit a career path and take off in the tech industry. I saw people at that job that were in their mid 40s still working entry level help desk, tier one support, and doing it for their whole lives. And it's one of the saddest things that you can see is a man that's approaching 50 still working a job that was designed as entry level. And the reason for that is they know they can't do any better. If they're not working at this call center, they're working at that other call center doing the exact same thing. Either technical support, resetting passwords, sales, retention, and they're just not jobs that pay sufficient for anyone to make any kind of life with it. In fact, as I've said before, the person who signs my paychecks keeps telling me that the only way that I'm going to make it with my current pay is if I move into a house with 5 roommates. Telling a person who's worked in tech as long as I have to reduce the quality of my life to that of a starving college student because they're not going to offer more pay is a middle finger to every person that has to hear that. Every person that's heard this expression in their lives, like I have. This job isn't designed to keep you alive. This job is supposed to be one of your 10 jobs that you need to be doing. You need to be doing side hustles. You need to be cutting lawns. You need to have a lemonade stand. Whatever you need to do, but you can't rely on this job to keep you afloat because it's not built that way. All of these jobs, the millions of open jobs, are one of the many things that you're supposed to be doing to figure it out, to scrape by on food and rent. These aren't jobs that are going to put you in a place in which you can be comfortable. They're not that kind of job. Let's see, moving on to my second to last talking point: employer reluctance to improve conditions. As a result, these jobs remain unfilled because they are simply not competitive in today's job market. Every single thing that I've mentioned in here, from working at a gas station to walking across to the Burger King to walking across the street from there and going to Dutch Brothers and then crossing the street and going to what is it, Jack in the Box. All those people will live in this particular area because what I've noticed about extremely low paying jobs is the people that come there are either within walking distance or a bus ride. They never live very far away from their plantation because they just don't have the means or time to be commuting to that low paying job. So this means that these jobs aren't competitive in the job market unless you can afford to take that job. And that's really what it comes down to. It's not what they can afford to pay you, it's what you can afford to take as payment for your time. If you're a person that's down and out with no car, no responsibilities, no significant other, no bills, you can afford to work at Kroger's. But if any of these things are checked in your person, married, kids, school for your kids, any of those things, you can't take these jobs. They're not going to provide sufficient. Even if you work, remember the video I made a couple of months ago where I broke down the math and I showed that a person at the minimum wage has to work 200 hours a week in order to get to a living wage. That's disturbing, but that's the reality of it. Is that's how little they pay. And then again, you've got people who throw their hands up in the air and say the phrase that pays, no one wants to work anymore. All right, so my last talking point here is labor market shifts. Certain industries like tech or finance are growing rapidly, attracting talent away from sectors with less growth potential, leaving a surplus of open positions and less desirable fields. Yesterday, I went to the mall with Mello, and for the first time in my entire life, we walked into a mall where there was no Starbucks. What was left over in this outlet mall is the lowest of the low stores. You can tell that the mall industry, is cratering. It wouldn't surprise me if that mall was out of business. It nearly went out of business during the pandemic. I'm sure that the what was it, Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, kept that mall going, but it was really close to just going down because it's hard to fill those jobs in a mall when you have hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs inside of a mall that all pay nothing. Meaning, there is you have to find these desperation people. So, you have a surplus of open positions in malls. And I was telling Mello this yesterday, and she acknowledged this, but more churches are moving into malls because the space is cheaper to rent because no one else is renting. And guess what? If you want to get rich, start your own church. That's the small business we should all be trying to start up. Mel and I have decided to, or at least at some point, we decided that we were going to make a cult out of millennial steam, or more like mellow steam cult. in order to cash in on that church money. But unfortunately, when your entire flock is broke, it's hard to make money on poor people. Just ask any rich person, they'll tell you. Anyhow, let's see. So for toxic positivity today, I put bad jobs for life. It seems like some people will never amount to anything. And I say that fully well knowing that when I thought of this toxic positivity, I was thinking of my Gen Z and all of my previous Gen Zs. Because someone said this in the comments section. If Gen Z's plan is to inherit millennial wealth, then they're going to be out of luck. Because by the time their millennial parents kick the bucket, there's not going to be anything left. So you're going to have an entire generation of Gen Z that are going to be scratching their head wondering, oh God, the plan was to take my parents' money and use that so they don't have to work. But what if that doesn't happen? There's no plan B here for them. So if they're not willing to take bad jobs now, imagine if you have no work experience and you're 30 or you're 40 years old and you're trying to get a job as a cashier at a gas station and there's nothing on your resume because you decided to stay home when you were supposed to be building up your resume. It's the same thing that happens to college students. And the one thing I would tell every single student that sat next to me over my lifetime of going to school at the universities, you've got to have something on your resume when you get out of school. You can't use your degree as work experience. It doesn't work like that. There's too much competition in the workplace. You've got to come out and have something on there. Something related to what your college degree is in, or someone else is going to beat you to the jobs that you keep applying to because they at least had the common sense. And this is the problem with this. It's not common sense that you need to have work experience before you get out of school so you have something that shows that you're not a dingbat. But a lot of people didn't take it seriously. And their plan, of course, all of my classmates that I knew at university that graduated with me in 2017, their plan was number one, run back home and get into their old room because that's the only rent that they could afford on those uh, surplus of open positions that are out there that we're hoping to take to exploit them. But that's all I have to say for today's video. I know I made back-to-back videos today. I probably won't make another one unless I really something really annoys me. But with that said, I've got to take a shower, take a dump, and get to the chiropractor.